you know.
And you just, well, I mean, you just took it 2 days ago, and
Yeah, like yeah, I think something like that. Like it was when I was at my parents'. Yeah.
want to share your results? Are they fresh? What type of personality are you?
Uh, well, I'm apparently I'm the advocate personality. I don't remember the. It's like four letters and a dash and a T, I think, but I don't remember the letters. uh, anyway, but yes, the advocate. Um, you can look that up. I think they all have just kind of a their own sort of designation. Other than the sort of incoherent letters.
Yeah,
Uh,
the Myers-Briggs test.
Myers, yeah,
What did
but
you need to correct me? Did I say it wrong?
no, no, I think that's right. In any case, it was just funny, like because you were just talking about how you kind of are led by your feelings and all that stuff, and apparently, according to this test, so am I. I'm not. It's not all logic and reasoning, which I like to fancy myself. A sort of very logical, rational person, but I, I don't think I really am.
I
I think
want.
I'm way too crazy.
I wonder. I mean, maybe that test will say differently about myself, that I would be logic and ration led, because,
I don't
and
know.
like my friends group, that would be the case. I would be the least likely to do something crazy, just caught up on an emotion or a whim. Um, but the new me, the new kind of like understanding I've been given, I know I'm like a big proponent of emotions, or talking about the good sides of understanding your own emotions and being led by them. Also, there's a part of me, because I was brought up to like think that emotions were bad or something. Like
Yeah,
it wasn't even like the male suppress your emotions type of thing. It was something to do with Christianity, in that like
mm,
your emotions are constantly kind of like leading you astray. Just stick to the biblical outline on what to do, and
yeah,
don't worry about your emotions. They're here to deceive you. And now I'm almost on, yeah, a polar opposite page with, no, your emotions in my book are here to help you, and they're they're a barometer. They're helping your heart, which within the heart is someone's true north, maybe you could say. Their compass is the direction of their true north in astrology is, this like more fulfilling life, this life you came here to have and experience. And it's found in the heart, and the emotions are guiding you throughout your life. And the better emotions are what is leading you to this fulfilling life. And the bad ones are telling you how you don't want to feel, and the things in life you don't really love, what you kind of want to avoid. And there's a name of the game, is to kind of figure that out, and to try and compile a bunch of good feeling stuff. And it gets very much at odds with like Christianity, and uh, sounds pretty self-fulfilling. And there's a lot, or I don't know, this wasn't where we were supposed to go. I hit record and we were going to bring up the last conversation, but uh, that's stuff I do like to talk about, where uh,
sure.
these feelings are important. Doesn't necessarily mean like you're out to just serve yourself. There's more to the philosophy, but I don't know. You got anything to say?
Uh, well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of funny because like some of the like the Stoic philosophy stuff, like Epictetus, right? I identify. I feel like I identify a great deal with that approach. But where it really is just completely against being led by your feelings, right? getting wrapped up in what they call appearances, you know, um, rather than principle, being led by principles and that sort of thing. But just because I like what the words on the page say and stuff like that doesn't mean that this is something that I've been able to like implement or anything like that. So I'm just you
Well,
know it's
I,
just kind of funny, so I'm just as kind of led around by the nose by my emotions or feelings and stuff like that. Even though I feel like I identify a great deal with like something that where it's all about just putting your emotions, basically like you know to the side,
yeah. So
and looking at things like objectively, with Stoicism, or Epictetus at least. I'm not going to go on much longer about this, but it's all about basically two things, the things you can control and the things you can't control. That's what it comes down to, right? And the only thing that you have control of is your thoughts, well, feelings and stuff like that, your actions, uh, and all that, and literally everything else is falls under the heading of the shit you can control. So
I was going to exclaim exactly. You have control over your thoughts, and yeah, the it's like maybe the Stoicism is designed to make you think these are separate ideas, but they're not. They're the same, and I pride myself in like seeing that. It's like it's the same. Someone just got to explain it. I don't know. The thoughts are things. Stuff is everything, though. That's where this idea stems from. You are what you think about type of stuff. So all right. The last conversation,
yeah,
it ended on me talking about driving in Kentucky and there's a guy on my tail and that, you know, would easily make me very frustrated and angry and have bad emotions, bad feelings.
yeah,
And for various reasons, I was introduced to the Callahan technique, or it's called thought tap therapy. There's a few different three-letter acronyms for it, and it's the same concepts. There's big schools of it, people teaching it, believing it's a cure-all for different types of situations. And you you basically, when I'm driving, you you say on a scale of 1 to 10, how frustrated are you with the guy on your tail? And it's like, I'm a 10 frustrated. And then you do this simple pattern of, and these spots are given to you right now without someone in front of me, the collarbone. I don't know the exact order, but there's these and I don't know the term, these points. And you do it and you go through the pattern and then you finish and you say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how frustrated am I with the guy on my tail? It's like, for whatever reason, I'm not as frustrated. Like this guy was pissing me off. I did this stupid thing. Now I'm like an 8. Do it again. Now I'm like, it's like really not bothering me. He's still on my tail. I'm a 5. You can take this thing to the point you're like laughing at the thing you were just very angry about. You're like, it literally cannot make you angry anymore. You can, and it
sure.
it can have the effect of forever being that way now. You never go back to the bad emotion that you once had. So why is this important? A little hack like that. Because
Because the world's full of assholes. That's
yeah.
why.
All right, that you know, is is life about suppressing your emotions though and just going up, knowing there's all these things you can't focus, you can't, what was the phrase you just said? The things you can control and the things you can't control. And it's like maybe you can control more than you give yourself credit for, and how powerful your mind is and what you are attracting into your life. And you want to, it's a whole philosophy. How do I start? Why you want to feel good? That's always your next move. Earlier today, we talked about doing the call, and I got like a runny nose. You mentioned you had a headache, and in this philosophy that I have learned and I'm trying to live out, you would want to address that right away. You want to feel good as your very next move. Instead, we live by the ways of the world, so our very next move usually is what everyone does. You have to go do what you have to go do, and your feelings come secondary, you know?
Right.
And
Just slog through, right?
this is because, all right, why you might want to change the way you think about something or focus on your feelings is because we will focus on what we've lived and experienced, and that is our reality. So in this world of like wanting to dream up a better reality for yourself, and these concepts behind the laws of attraction and manifesting, you are you're suggesting, I'm gonna envision something better for myself, and my brain thoughts are things, these thoughts are so powerful, they're gonna go out and attract this reality and bring it into me, and I'm gonna live happily ever after. But the problem is that this is a very fun, fresh conversation in the last few years. Some people have been into it for a long time, but I'm 37 years old. The most people that are learning about this concept have already experienced 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of life, and not understanding how powerful their thoughts were prior to this point, and how their thoughts were helping attract in their reality as they know it. Um, so your thoughts have already been set in stone to a degree. You've been continuously thinking about yourself the same way for a long time. And a lot of thoughts are not necessarily aligned with this new life that you want to live. Yet you always revert back to, this is how I think about myself. This is who I am. This is what I have. And you're just reaffirming those things, and you're actually doing the exact opposite. You're helping attract those things back like they've always been, as opposed to these new thoughts that need to become your everyday, every moment. And so the whole thing is, people get on this path of I'm manifesting and I'm writing out my mantras, and I'm focused on these things, but the second the guy is on your tail, you forget all that. You go right back to angry self, and within angry self, you start thinking about the same old things about your life that you're not exactly happy with and you're trying to change. And so it's just an easy step back that it can become a real pitfall where you're back into this lower vibration, dwelling on the things that you're not happy about with your life situation, and any and all work towards the new life you're trying to build just, you know, came crashing backwards. And so within this learning how to overcome that and focus on the forward and what you want to bring into your life, you need to be aware of your emotions. You need to be emotionally aware, this knowledge of self type of stuff. You need to have identified the emotions you liked, the things in life that you're going after more of. And again, it's just a simple thing. So the bad emotions come, you now have tactics, a red flag goes off, whatever you want to call it, and you're like, okay, I don't want to just sit here and be in this mode because it's going to hinder what I'm trying to do here, which is dwell on what's ahead for me. And that little lesson is at a micro level, it's the same thing for everyone together, the collective, how we ever have like a heyday would be a lot of dwelling on head, what we can do, and not so much trying to make sense of where we're at or what's happened, in my opinion. Thanks for letting me just rattle there. I don't know if that made sense, any of that.
Yes, of course. Well, I mean, I would just say that I suppose like is probably the common experience. I mean, I have the, controlling my thoughts, is something that, of course I have the, that's like one of the most difficult things I can, think of trying to do, controlling my thoughts, right?
Yes.
So, you know, it's funny,
You can read a huge book, man, and
yeah,
other people
yeah,
can.
like all these strategies, right? Like even, like the Stoics, it is kind of like about, trying to retrain your brain, so you're not like trying to control things that are not in your control, right?
Mhm.
And becoming frustrated and, all the kind of associated stuff. But, I don't know. It's of course it's such a challenge, right? And then you're, stuck in such a we're all stuck in such a kind of crazy environment. So that certainly, doesn't help.
I was gonna say you can read, you read way more than the average person. You can take on books that other people would just grimace looking at because they look too big.
Probably right.
What is that? I'm saying you have uh, a diligence to you to be able to read a book, even. And all I'm saying is that diligence is what's simply needed to rewire your thoughts so that after a year, after 2 years of keeping after it and having a strategy to it, you have successfully embedded it some new programming that is positive, helpful, helps you through the bad days, helps you looking forward, helps you believing in yourself. And I'm just saying you won't get there though without the day-to-day training, putting into work. Um, and you hinted at, yeah, there's a lot of strategy, there's a lot of things you can talk about. All of the strategy is actually good. All of it is kind of needed. You need to visually stimulate your mind to see the future you want to see. You got to put it into words. The hardest part is for people to freaking know what they want in life. That's a whole name of a game in itself, is making a goal, figuring out what's next. I'm gonna do the cat thing, let him out the door. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, I would just add to, what you were saying, as far as like people, that you have to know what you want or whatever. Um, and I would add just, that you have to know who you are, right? You have to sort of know yourself, I think, to really know what you want.
Ding ding ding.
Um, so, and I would just also add that, kind of, going back around to our, discussion of like astrology, um, that, you've got signs in the astrology, in the zodiac that are, they're air signs, they're water signs. And then you have, these other signs, earth and fire, that are fixed signs. So you have the not fixed signs, and then you have the ones that are fixed. And it seems as far as I can tell, that people who are part of the group category under the fixed signs and stuff like that have a lot easier time knowing who they are. Their nature is not as changeable, and kind of flighty and stuff like that. Um, uh, and I've noticed that, for sure, in people that I've known who were, like, water signs, air signs, that kind of thing. They're always kind of tossing around trying to figure out, who the hell they are and what they want. Precisely those things, like kind of how to balance their life. Um, and I don't know. I mean, like my whole zodiac, it's so much fixed signs. It's just like, um, it's so, I've really never, I can understand what these people, kind of go through, who have that difficulty. But I myself have never really felt that way about myself,
They
as far as
know.
like knowing who I am, knowing, kind of what I want, knowing what I like.
Yeah, you brought up a new angle for me to look at things and people, so thank you for that. That is uh the cardinal, fixed, and then transmutable energy is like seasonal. So if there's 4 seasons to the year, spring, summer, fall, winter, every season you're gonna have a start, a middle, and an end. And depending if you're born in the start, the middle, of the end, you would then have, and if you were born in the beginning of the season, the spring season, or the beginning of the winter season, you would have cardinal energy. The cardinal's like the first bird sometimes you see after the winter. It's an aggressive, headstrong bird. Then the fixed are the middle people that you're getting at. They know
Yeah,
themselves, so they're the people right in the middle of their season. They probably love their season. And then transmutables, people at the end of the season, ready, they're willing to, able to adapt to flow into the next season after theirs. And yeah, it's a really interesting point how fixed people know themselves pretty straight away. And yeah, I'm transmutable and or what am I? Yeah, no, I'm fixed. No, I'm not. I'm fixed. No, I'm cardinal. Sorry, I'm cardinal. Yeah, fixed is the Aquarius people, and
uh, no, like Aquarius is a
well, let's dance around some more. That's where it's your take on it, my take on it. Let's not try and talk it out because we're neither of us are too
you're
expert.
right. That's fine.
Yeah. Um,
Probably get it wrong anyway.
it's it's all right. Uh, I like that you brought it back up because to me it is a very interesting and key component to knowing thyself that has been missing for a long time. Or it's like this beautiful tool that now you can use to help figure yourself out more. And if you give it a little credence, but no one was doing that for a long time here. And so, I mean, I think the know thyself concept has been lost, and now it's coming back. In the Western Christian take on things, it wasn't, you had to be like Christ, not know thyself and think you're unique. You wanted to be like the body of Christ, which is, being kind of like everyone else. And so
Right.
I
Well,
always,
if the know thyself, thing is, that's Socrates. So, you want to be more like Socrates.
I,
What would Socrates do?
I say you want to know thyself, with the heart of Christ. which embodies some selfless parts. You know, this true north stuff I talk about, destiny, all that. It's like when you find it, it's almost always uh, you find yourself in service to the world with what you found. This thing. I don't think it's designed that you just your sweet spot is destiny. This thing you've gone through highs and lows to find and experience and live out is just, you on your yacht. You like to bring up the yacht, just like the yacht life. And
I guess I want a yacht. I guess that's I just don't want to admit it to myself.
that's a good goal, man. I'd like the idea. Um, but is the yacht the end all be all? You just live out your days on the yacht, never any adversity or anything else. You just, got a pile of money and you spend it all up. Like what I'm getting at is that's never like true north. That's things you attain along the way, possibly. But the true north, usually it's you're giving back to this world, this for whatever reasons, within the life you've lived, you find a reason to give back. And uh
Sure, totally.
the astrology stuff definitely teases that out. Definitely. It'll talk about, you know, your acts of service, where they probably lie. And there's a lot of stuff where your occupation could lie, where making money comes easiest for you, what your experiences with your friends are, where you lie in your friends groups. Are you a leader, a follower, this, that, the other? There's a lot. So for the know thyself stuff, getting those tidbits, pretty helpful. um you and I can talk about this all day long because we are fine with not being career men and the labels and all that and whatever you want to call us, so be it. But when you talk about this stuff, which I have with people that haven't come across it much before, you're kind of talking about how people settle for jobs and lives that aren't necessarily always aligned with know thyself. They're literally just living out the ways of the world, go to school, go to college, get a job, pay your bills, and they're doing some shit
Right.
that, you know, so a slow death. And
Truly.
then you're like talking about destiny and true north and all that. And
Astrology.
yeah.
Bruh, why are you talking about astrology, bruh?
So
I
it's
don't want to take no tests.
we only got
Anyway,
4 minutes left. It's a whole changing of the guard. Uh, from a young age, you would want to instill these ideas with people. With the kids, we're like, it's all fantasy. Like we're given, you can dream big, blah blah blah. But then quickly, it's like that's actually wasn't it. You got to take your test, get your A.
actually, don't dream big.
Yeah. Well,
We
no,
lie.
dream big, but you got to go through the system,
Oh,
and
right. To accomplish your dreams.
yeah,
Yes.
and then that's a soul sucking endeavor. And
Yes. Yes.
so
I mean, what a bait and switch that is, eh?
So yeah, I mean everything's got to change. That we have to teach some, I'd say, some manifesting principles to the kids early on. How powerful their brains are, their imagination is. I've made videos on my Instagram. Like it's literally all scientific. You can trick your spinal, your nervous system, and that's what happens a lot of times in like placebo or under when you're hypnotized. Like your brain has tricked your nervous system is tricked to believe something different, and you can't convince it otherwise. Like to a degree, it can't tell the difference between reality and imagination. This is scientific, it's proven in different ways. And so the power of the imagination to then trick your reality to be as you want it to be is a really special conversation that I I'm always saying people I don't think understand.
Well, no, I think it's a great subject. And there's actually a kind of a, as far as tricking your brain, tricking your, like there's this sort of like, how much time do we got?
2 minute mark, all
Okay.
you.
Um, right. So, okay. So, with with the arts, you always got people that say, oh, I don't have an artistic bone in my body, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you must have been born with some sort of magic fucking talent, to be an artist. And I think that's all complete bullshit. And one very interesting experiment that anybody could do. Okay, so you take a picture, like a photo, or picture on the phone, computer, whatever, out of a book. Okay, uh, you know, it could be anything. Let's say it's just a figure, a person or whatever. And like, your eye sees like it immediately sees like all the detail, like the folds in the clothing and the details in the eyes. And oh my God, it's overwhelming, right? Your brain just is overwhelmed. Oh, I could never reproduce that on a piece of paper. But the trick is, it's so clever. So you turn the picture upside down. You just turn it upside down, uh, and that immediately fools your eye. And so you basically just start, you're not seeing it as a whatever, as a person, or a car, or whatever you're looking at.
Oh, it's
Uh,
abstract.
yeah, so your brain completely, it's just scrambled in your brain because it's upside down. And so you just start drawing, uh, exactly what you see. It just becomes lines, like and you just you just figure out, it's just a matter of figuring out like angles, and the placement of this line and that line in relation to the other lines and stuff like that. And it's a miracle, because like then when you're done, you turn it over and it's like, holy fucking shit, like you just drew the thing like accurately without learning anatomy